every morning with drive. Being on the grind, know I had to survive. We had to win. Started from the dirt and the rubble. I had to be the needle that was popping your bubble.
Hello, and welcome into the Rookie Prospect Profile Series. This is a Zilla Fantasy Elite production. Hit that subscribe button if you have been enjoying all of these Rookie Prospect Profile Series. Sincerely appreciate the support. Today, we're going to be looking at running back Jonathon Brooks in both the RStudio model and the neural network model for running backs. Again, these are different models than what we've been using for the wide receivers and tight ends. Jonathon Brooks was drafted number 46 overall in the second round by the Carolina Panthers. They come into the league out of Texas University. Looking at Jonathon Brooks' physical traits, we can see that it comes in at 6 foot, 216 pounds, which is a pretty decent size there. Has a BMI of 29.3 and a 40 time of healthy 4.54 in the 40, giving us a speed score of 101.7. Not tremendous there in terms of the yard dash, but 4.54 is sufficient enough. Putting in these physical traits along with some of their college numbers, which would be your college yards per carry and college dominator rating, we do get a prospect score on the RStudio model of 15.442, which ranks 59th out of the 327 running backs in the RStudio model's database. That is the 82nd percentile. Shifting over to see who are the closest comparables in that Jonathon Brooks prospect score range, we can see that the closest comp in the model is James Conner. The next five best, starting from the closest, Latavius Murray, DeMarco Murray, Keyshawn Vaughn, Felix Jones, and Zach Charbonnet. And then the next worst, starting with the closest, Kerryon Johnson, Sony Michel, Bishop Sankey, Travis Etienne, and Robert Turbin. Really interesting comps here. I think the closest in my book may be DeMarco Murray there. Really like that comp for him. James Conner also decent in terms of size, and I think James Conner a little bit slower than that, but very good comps there for Jonathon Brooks. I think Kerryon Johnson also fits that well, despite him not being super great in the NFL when he came in, but similar kind of concept in terms of when they were taken in the NFL draft and size-speed combination. Switching now to the machine learning model for Jonathon Brooks. We can see his numbers here for the neural network model. I just want to point out this is a little bit different than the wide receiver and tight end models in terms of using a deep neural network versus the other XGBoost, which I was using for wide receivers and tight ends. This is only going through 100 iterations. It's a neural network that I used and built myself. Typically, neural networks are a lot better at visualizing photos and going through section by section to determine what things are. I'm using a deep neural network with tabular data here to kind of assess the running backs. Again, this is a first iteration of this particular model. We're updating it and seeing how it goes. Another difference between this and the wide receiver models, instead of going rookie year, second year, third year, fourth year in the league, we're looking at running backs in the neural network model based on whether or not they would get 80 opportunities in a season. If they do, what is the range of outcomes that they would see for a career best fantasy points per game in a PPR setting? So that can skew some of these results, is assuming these players are getting playing time, at least 80 opportunities in a season. And if they get those opportunities, what do they look like in historical context in terms of what we can expect? So with Jonathon Brooks here, we can see minimum there at 7.87, mean and median 11.5, 11.35, and then maxing out at 16.22 fantasy points per game. Should he get 80 opportunities in a season, that's what this model is expecting him to max out at. The interesting thing with the ranks below there is you'd expect, hey, Jonathon Brooks, one of the first running backs taken in the NFL draft, he should be, one of the better ranked ones. But again, we're already assuming that everybody in the model, so we got 31 total running backs that we're assessing in 2024. Here's his ranks. Minimum 4, so it's expecting him to be one of the best ones in terms of his overall rate. In terms of busting, maybe, hey, he's the 4th best minimum. The mean and median rank there at number 9 might be a little bit shocking, and then especially when you go into that max rank at 14. But again, this is assuming all of these players get at least 80 opportunities based off of every running back that's gotten at least 80 opportunities in a season, what they look like. it's projecting this for Jonathon Brooks. I just want people to be aware of that and why these numbers might look a little bit different than what you're expecting. So getting into some of these numbers and what they mean, let's look at that mean and median range at 11.5 and 11.35. I think another thing to point out here, a lot of the people that you would expect to get any sort of run in the NFL are actually pretty close in terms of their mean and median. They might all be within 2 fantasy points of each other, but then the ranks might fluctuate upwards of 15 in that particular object. So with him at 11.35, there's not anybody else even more than one person with 1 fantasy point per game more than him at 11.35. So I want you to be aware that they're all fairly close here, but he is coming in with the 9th ranked mean and median in the class. Let's get into historical comps. Who's floating around that 11.5, 11.35? So all of these running backs scored in between 11.2 and 11.55 PPR fantasy points per game in their best season in the NFL. We have Charles Sims, J.K. Dobbins, Trey Mason, Carlos Williams, Ty Montgomery, Andre Brown, Alex Collins, Felix Jones, Salvon Ahmed, Darrell Williams, Jerick McKinnon, and Jaylen Warren. So those are the rough ranges that you can expect for Jonathon Brooks in a median type of outcome for his career best, hovering in roughly what that Jaylen Warren range was from last season. Now that's projecting out of 100 different iterations what his mean or median outcome may be. Let's go look at that maximum range for Jonathon Brooks. We do see it sitting at 16.22. So in historical context, who has that for a particular range of their best outcome in the NFL? And we're starting to parse out some individuals here, getting a little bit bigger gap in between each player. So got a handful of people here in between 16.05 and 16.61 fantasy points per game as their career best. Ahmad Bradshaw at 16.05, DeAndre Swift 16.07, Jahmyr Gibbs in his rookie season last year 16.14. So it's really saying, hey, Jonathon Brooks' ceiling is roughly what we saw out of Jahmyr Gibbs last year. Tremendous season from Jahmyr Gibbs, and it's saying that's roughly what we can expect for Jonathon Brooks if he hits the ceiling. Myles Gaskin actually hit 16.42. Then Travis Etienne hit 16.61. And we did see, I believe, Travis Etienne on his RStudio model comp in terms of somebody that was a little bit below him in the RStudio model. So kind of interesting seeing him pop up here in terms of his ceiling outcome. All right, well, hopefully the RStudio model and this machine learning model, the neural network model, can give you a little bit more additional confidence when you're selecting those draft buttons in this upcoming draft season and give you all the confidence in the world to make sure that you're making a good pick. That's going to do it today for the rookie prospect profile on Jonathon Brooks. Again, this is presented by Zilla Fantasy Elite. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.